Hello YouTube, this is Shelwig08, and today I'm going to be talking about some of the Scars of Mirrodin spoilers that are out, and mostly how they're going to affect the limited format and the pre-release. So let's dive right in. First card I want to talk about is called Dissipation Field. Basically, whenever a creature deals damage to you, it gets returned to its hand. This is also true for permanent or planeswalkers. So any Chandra or a Thorin that hits you for any damage goes back to your opponent's hand. I think this is gonna be a really good card for control. I would consider playing this in limited actually, just to slow down my opponent. It's worth mentioning is that infect is damage, and so if a creature with infect hits you with this enchantment, it will go back to its opponent's hand as well. Next card I want to call Quicksilver Gargantuan, and oh man, is this card good. It's a 7/7 clone, basically. So if you have any type of infect creature, bam, you've got a 7/7 infect, and that's just brutal. So blue is definitely looking like it's going to be the color to pair up with infect cards, because of proliferate. It's just looking that way now. Quicksilver Gargantuan is just a bomb, I think, in limited, and probably will be constructed once an infect deck is created. Next card I want to talk about is Geth, Lord of the Vault. This is a 5/5 Intimidate, which in the Scars of Mirrrodin set is not going to be very good since you're going to have artifact creatures, so be able to block this guy. He's not going to be that ridiculous as far as Intimidate is concerned, but he's good because of his second ability, which lets you pull creatures out of your opponent's graveyard and put them onto your side, or even artifacts. And another thing that's worth noting is that this second ability doesn't require a tap activation, so you can use this ability more than once each turn and still be able to block with Geth, or attack. So Geth is going to be pretty amazing. I think he's going to be not quite as good as Brana was in Rise of Eldrazi, but for being 5/5 fatty with a really good activated ability, I think Geth is going to be pretty ridiculous. Next card that's worth mentioning is Rats. It's a progressive infect card. I think before you put this in your deck, you should definitely consider how gung-ho you are going to be about with infect and poison counters. Just a little scenario here. Let's say you play Ichor Rats. Both Europe and Europe go to one poison counter, and then on their next turn, if they hit any sort of proliferate effect, you're losing the poison counter race. So Ichor Rats is kind of good, also kind of works both ways, so just something to be aware of before you just throw it in your deck because it has infect. Skithiryx the Bull Dragon is, I think, one of my favorite black cards right now that's been spoiled. A 4/4 flying effect is pretty good. I mean, Air Elemental is pretty sweet. Sarah Angel is good, and Air Servant now is becoming the new Flyer Bomb. And I think that Skithiryx is just amazing above that. If you draw him late in the game, you can give him haste, and you're swinging for 4 flying with infect. That's 4 poison counters. That pretty much puts a quick clock on your opponent. And the ability for it to regenerate pretty much says that if they have any sort of flyer, you can get through that because of the infect ability on Skithiryx. If they block, they're taking -1 counters, and you can just regenerate if it's a bigger creature. And so Skithiryx will win any sort of flyer battle. The only thing Skithiryx really loses to is other infect creatures, since when you regenerate, the -1 counters would stay on him. As far as red is concerned, outside of Koth being spoiled, we don't really have to talk about. I mean, we got a Goblin and a Burn spell. That's not really a stretch for red, so hopefully Wizards will give us some red spoilers here in the next couple days. I'm definitely starving for red card spoilers. Green is looking pretty sweet with its Metalcraft abilities. Pace Forger with a +2/+2 and Azuri's Brigade with +4/+4. To me, Metalcraft is looking a lot like it's going to be like Landfall was, except it's going to be reliable and maybe not faster, but definitely better, I think, in the long run. Once you hit those 3 artifacts on the board, green is going to be smashing in, And so I think these cards here, these two green cards, are going to be really good and limited. Next really good card, I think, is Mir. Sitting at common rarity, this guy's not going to be hard to get a hold of for limited pool. And a 1/1 effect is already pretty good, being that it can take down indestructible creatures or wear down larger creatures that you don't really have removal for. Basically, this reads ridiculous. They don't want to block because they'll lose their creature. 2 for a 3/3 infect is ridiculous. But if they don't block, then they get poison counters, and you get closer and closer to winning the game. Mir is going to be not incredibly good as far as bombs are concerned, because it's definitely not a bomb, but it's a really good early game poison card to have. Next card worth talking about is Tumble Magnet. Basically, it's an artifact that works kind of like Serrated Arrows did, but I think as far as the game is concerned, it's going to work a lot like Blind Mage does, where it taps down your opponent's big creatures. And if I get one of these, I'll probably play it. Enough said. And the last card I want to talk about is Leonin Arbiter, which just got spoiled today or last night if you stayed up late to see it. It's a 2 that says players can't search libraries unless they pay additional costs. The only decks that this really is hitting right now is like your Valakut or Inferno Titan decks that need lots of mana, and Shaman decks, which without being able to search your library, a Funk is kind of SOL. So we got ramp going on in Titan and Valakut decks, and lots of fetch lands and etc. for Fauna Shaman decks, so they can multitude of different colored creatures. But Leonin Arbiter I don't think is going to be a problem for the Titan and Valakut decks, because those decks are playing Lightning Bolt, and Leonin Arbiter is a Shaman decks are going to have a way harder time, being that the best they can really come up with now is a Cunning Spark Mage. Once Alara rotates out, they're going to lose their Oblivion Ring, and I don't know, maybe the next best thing is Journey to Nowhere. But really, Fauna Shaman decks are going to have to find a strategy for getting rid of Leonin Arbiter. Playing Lightning Bolt will be, but anybody that's playing a Nea build is going to have to figure out how to get around this guy, I think. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you can manage to get up your little Scars of Mirrrodin pre-release on September 5th. I'm definitely going to one. Me and my buddy are going to road trip it up a little bit and drive a little bit out of our way to go to local. But it's going to be lots of fun. Poison is going to be running amok, and it's going to be a good time. Hopefully you guys get to go, and thanks for watching.